Hey guys, what is going on? iJustRengar here, and today I'm coming at you with a video talking about the different keystones for Rengar, both top and jungle, and which ones I think are viable. We're going to start from Precision and work our way through Domination, Sorcery, Resolve, Inspiration, and basically we're just going to kind of go through each one of these. I'm going to tell you which ones I have tried, which ones I haven't, and which ones I, like if I didn't try them, why I didn't try them, and basically my thoughts and what I'm thinking going through these different things. So, we're going to start off with Precision, Press the Attack. So, Press the Attack, I think, is really good in certain circumstances. If you're going to be against, like, a tank top lane, Precision's Press the Attack can be okay, because you're going to attack, obviously, quite a bit. It's kind of like a mini Electrocute. It's available a lot more often than an Electrocute. It doesn't deal as much damage up front as Burst, but it does deal a little bit more sustained damage, and it helps out your team if you do get, like, a gank, per se, or something like that. Overall, it's an effective keystone. For Burst, it's not as effective as Electrocute, and I would actually recommend Press the Attack as a top lane keystone. Moving on to the next in order is Lethal Tempo. Lethal Tempo for Rengar, I actually have not tried this one, but I don't think that it's the most efficient. I think that it's definitely possible, because you can go for like a lifesteal build Rengar, but I don't believe that that's the most like efficient. If you were going to go Lethal Tempo, you'd have to go for a pretty much full lifesteal attack speed build, and I mean theoretically you could go crit, but you wouldn't really survive that long. It's just kind of like a keystone where you're not really going to be able to use it that much. Rengar is more of a bursty type of champion. He does have some sustained damage, this new / old Rengar that's coming back. But, at the same time, even though he does have that sustained damage, he doesn't have as much sustain for it. So you're definitely going to need lifesteal if you do go Lethal Tempo. Next is going to be Fleet Footwork. Now, this one is okay. I personally haven't really tried it. I mean, I tried it once. I don't think that it is as good as it could be. I think that there's a lot better runes. Technically, you probably could use it top lane, but I don't think that it's the best thing to use top lane. Because the healing really doesn't affect you that much. You're more of an assassin. You're not really that much of an AD carry where you need that. In lane, it's nice, but it doesn't do that much in lane. And then once you get out of lane, it's kind of lackluster, if that makes any sense. Plus, it works off bonus AD, and your passive was changed from bonus AD to regular AD. So that's also a little downside for it. Moving on is Electrocute. This one is actually my favorite, obviously. Electrocute does a ton of damage. It's actually crazy. So I think that Electrocute is definitely still going to be just as viable as it was. It's kind of like Thunderlord's Decree. But at the same time, it's a little bit better. It's a little bit ramped up. And there's no more Stormraider Surge, which used to be my favorite. Okay, so next we have Predator. My thoughts on this is, like, it's decent. Definitely not the best. It forces you to buy the boots early, unless you don't want a keystone. It gives you a weaker early game because you can't really skirmish early with Predator. Well, if you do, you're lacking 50 damage that the enemy probably will have with an Electrocute or with a Press the Attack. So that's one thing that I don't really like. Plus, you have to channel it, so it's not really that, like, I see something, I'm going right now, and then you jump on somebody. You have to channel it first. Next would be Dark Harvest. Now, I used to love Dark Harvest. I don't like Dark Harvest as much anymore. I think that it's okay. I do not think that it is the most viable thing, but I do think that it's okay. It takes a while to scale, which is kind of like hard to deal with because you're like, oh, no, I don't really deal that much damage right now. It basically has the same problem as Predator. It's super gated, just like most of Rengar's power. Once you get to 150 stacks, it is better than Electrocute a lot. But if you can't snowball getting to those 150 stacks, then it's kind of lackluster. So it's really up to you. If you want to go for a late game style, you can go Dark Harvest. I'd recommend it mostly in lower elos where you really, really, really need that late game, and the early game isn't as deciding. Whereas in higher elo games, the games get a little bit more decided on the early game because people know how to capitalize more and end the games more quickly. So Dark Harvest is definitely for scaling, and it's okay. Moving on to Sorcery, we have Airy. I don't really like Airy at all. I feel like, I mean, it's decent if you want to go for it. I haven't tried it since, like, actually a while ago because I don't really think that it's a very good rune or good keystone for Rengar. It used to be back when it was like super busted. That's when I played it. but now it's really not as strong as it used to be, and it's just kind of like, it kind of tries to do what Electrocute does, or what Dark Harvest does, except with a lot less damage. Like, yes, it happens all the time, but it doesn't happen as often as it could, if that makes sense. It's like, it only happens like once every like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 seconds. I'm not sure exactly how long it is, but I think it depends on how far away from it you run. So Airy's really not as good as it looks on paper. And yes, you can use it, but there's a better keystone, and this is only really for top lane for Airy if you were going to go that. And I'll get to that in just a second. Arcane Comet, no. Next one. I'm just kidding. No, but Arcane Comet, you can only really proc that on your E now. Like, your Q doesn't count. I mean, technically your W, but your W is probably not going to hit. It's kind of like unlucky. Or unlikely, I should say. It does deal a good bit of damage, but its adaptive damage is plus 0.35 bonus AD. Electrocute is plus 0.5 bonus AD. So yes, it has a lower cooldown, but you're a burst champion, so there's really no reason to go for the Arcane Helmet. Plus, the Electrocute has higher base damage, so it's like, eh. Next is going to be Phase Rush. I used to love Stormraider's Surge so much, and honestly, I haven't even touched Phase Rush. It's really not that spectacular to look at. It used to be really strong. You used to have that flat movement speed, that pretty much 30% movement speed to 40%. Like, it was super strong. Now it's 15% early to 40%, and it's really just not as good as it used to be. Yes, it does give you that slow resistance, but really, it's on a 15-second cooldown now instead of 10-second. You used to be able to use it pretty much every trade. Now it's more like your W, where you kind of like can use it for one trade, and then you can go in for another one knowing that you're probably going to lose it. It gates your power just even more. You could say the same for Electrocute, but I feel like Phase Rush is just, it's more of a, Electrocute's more of a jungle rune, whereas Phase Rush is more of a top lane rune, and you can use another thing, faster top lane, which is the next thing we're going into when we get into the Resolve tree. So now we're talking about Grasp of the Undying. I actually have started to like Grasp of the Undying so much, it makes it so Rengar can actually win matchups, believe it or not. I never thought that that was possible, but Rengar top used to lose to Jax super hard. Grasp of the Undying, boom, I start winning. Grasp was actually super, super strong, and I think that it's definitely really, really good for Rengar. It's mostly only useful in lane, but it gets you through that laning phase really, really, really well. And if you can just snowball off of having it, because not just is it a keystone, but it gives you that extra 100-something health, which, if you think about it, that's a lot. Health is the most efficient stat early game, so if you get that HP, that is huge for you. That means that you last 2 extra auto attacks, which with a 0.75 attack speed is 3 extra seconds. So just think about that. Next is going to be Aftershock. I really don't need to say much. You only have your empowered E. I accidentally went this once. Please, never do that. Next we have Guardian. Also, this one's something that I probably don't even need to cover. You don't go tank. I know that when I said Grasp, you might think you go tank, but you don't really go tank if you go Grasp. You still go for damage, and then you can go for a mix if you want. Like a Black Cleaver, Titanic Hydra, stuff like that for Grasp. Guardian is just kind of, it's not really that important. Moving into Inspiration, we have Unsealed Spellbook. I feel like Rengar can utilize the other keystones better than Unsealed Spellbook. For example, when he's top lane, the Grasp is way better. You could even say that Press the Attack is better than Unsealed Spellbook. And I would say that Electrocute in the jungle is definitely better than Unsealed Spellbook, and I would much rather have Dark Harvest than Unsealed Spellbook in the jungle, especially after it's now only 15%. So to move on, Glacial Augment. Only 2 left, guys. Glacial Augment, it's okay. It's not the best, but it's okay. So I tried it a couple times, and it felt okay for top lane. It kind of, in a sense, felt like it would for the old Storm Raider's Surge, except reversed, because they're slow and you're just regular speed, but it feels like you're fast. I would say that it's definitely something that you can do. I would say that it's definitely not really like that recommended because it doesn't give you any additional damage. But if you want to try it out, I'd recommend trying it at least like once in like a normal game and just seeing what you think about it, seeing how you play. Because I know a lot of people debated Storm Raider Surge and Thunderlords when you could only really know if you tried both. Which after saying that now, I really want to go and try out Phase Rush. I'm going to make that another video tomorrow. But anyways, guys, yeah, that's Glacial Augment. I think that it's okay, and you should probably just try it out really quick and see what you think. And finally, last but not least, is Klepto Mansee. Since the Klepto Mansee nerfs, it's not as good. You can theoretically go this top lane. If you did, you're not going to have as much fighting potential, whereas, like, the Grasp and Resolve would give you, like, in an early 1v1, an extra, like, 50 to 75 damage on top of healing you and on top of giving you extra HP. The Klepto Mansee doesn't give you any of that, although if you do get a potion, you can use that, which is kind of nice. But I feel like it's better to go for a Grasp if you were going to go top Rengar versus Klepto Mansee, or even press the attack. But I would say that Klepto Mansee is viable, but it's not the best. So, my tier 1 runes for jungle and top lane are going to be, tier 1 for jungle is Electrocute. Tier 1 for top lane is going to be Grasp of the Undying. My tier 2 runes are going to be, for top lane, Press the Attack. And that's pretty much it. Press the Attack. I mean, maybe you could put Glacial Augment. So 2.5, Glacial Augment, Klepto Mansee, Phase Rush. And tier 3, which is basically it doesn't work, Fleet Footwork, Lethal Tempo. We're still talking about top Rengar, right? Yeah, we're going to talk about top Rengar. The other ones that could be used, top Rengar, Airy, Arcane Comet. Oh, Airy's 2.5 as well, or like 2. And then from there, yeah, that's pretty much it. And then for jungle Rengar, tier 1, like I said before, Electrocute. Tier 2 would be Dark Harvest. It would also be, you could go Predator. That would also be a tier 2. And then like tier 2.5 would be Press the Attack if you really want Press the Attack. You could also try out Phase Rush if you wanted to. And the other ones just aren't even viable whatsoever. But those ones are like semi-viable. But that's pretty much it, guys. If you guys enjoyed this video, never mind, I'm not going to ask you guys to like, but please hit the comments. I still respond to every single comment. It's been taking me a lot longer lately, because there's so many, and I had a lot of busy time with classes lately, so I'm sorry that I haven't been responding right away. I'm still getting to every comment, though, and yeah, thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed, and I hope that you have something to try out. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. Bye.